We all grew up watching certain television shows that helped develop us and grow us into the people that we are today. But today, many children spend a lot of their time watching MrBeast, a show that could be destroying an entire generation. Inside of today's video, we have a leaked document from the MrBeast team that shows the strategy to get our children addicted to his videos. By the time you're done watching this, you may question if you want your children or grandchildren to continue watching MrBeast's videos. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Now, let's dive in.
Take a look at this. 1 month ago, Pen B, a father of an 11-year-old, left this comment. MrBeast is a great role model who's always helping the community. Yes, there might be some weird things, but generally a very good show for kids. Sorry, Pen, but I think I have to disagree with you.
He is the most followed person in the world.
MrBeast is the biggest content creator in the world.
You have 466 million subscribers.
Everyone calls him a genius, but even Penn agrees there are some weird things about him.
$150,000. $500,000. $1 million. $5 million of real money.
We watched all his videos, went through every interview, and really tried to get to the bottom of the secret behind his success.
You grab 33 random people anywhere on the planet, and on average, one of them has seen our newest video.
And when we found this document that was leaked a few years ago, everything fell in place.
So what I want to do here today is I want to actually determine from the evidence being presented if me, as a content creator, someone who for the past 10 years of my life have dedicated my time to creating content across multiple YouTube channels here on this platform, if MrBeast is actually something that is poisoning an entire generation and keeping our kids from developing the way intended.
This document explains with scientific precision what MrBeast is doing to our kids. And after all this research, I can say with confidence that MrBeast's content is not good for kids. On the contrary, I think it's really, really bad.
All right.
Let me tell you a story. 19-year-old Jimmy Donaldson sits in his bedroom with the camera pointed at his face. He's about to do something completely insane.
I'm about to count to 100,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 791, 792, 790, 36,000, 570, 36,000.
He doesn't sleep, he barely eats, he's just counting.
And most people don't understand or realize that MrBeast actually started doing little silly things like that on a bad webcam in his room, just doing silly stunts like counting to 100,000 or doing other things that we're about to see. He didn't always start with the big production.
40 hours, he looks like he's about to pass out.
100,000.
The video gets millions of views. People can't believe someone actually did this. Jimmy had been making YouTube videos since he was 13 years old. For 6 years, nothing really worked out. Then he figured something out. It seems like people get completely mesmerized if someone is fully committed to something completely absurd.
What's up, guys? I'm gonna be watching It's Every Day, Bro for 10 hours straight.
Watching the same music video clip for 10 hours straight.
Enjoy watching me watch paint dry.
Literally watching paint dry. Or saying Logan Paul's name 100,000 times.
He essentially would do things that no one else wanted to do or that no one would believe that he actually could do, which is keeping the attention of everyone watching, making them not be able to turn away.
Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul.
No way, he just sits there for 17 hours and says my name. Gibberish, but bro, that's 8 hours in, bro. If that's like only 8 hours in, I'm gonna go 15 hours in. Let's see what it sounds like.
Not only was Logan Paul impressed, but everyone. Because back then, nobody was really doing these kinds of extreme stunts, like cutting a table in half with only plastic knives. He kept committing to other absurd things, and the channel started growing really fast.
Yep.
When Jimmy got his first brand deal worth $10,000, he immediately gave it away to a homeless person.
It's about $10,000.
I'm not joking.
Yeah, right.
The video performed really well, so Jimmy reinvested the money he earned into new videos. He started giving money away to everyone.
So I had this idea. If I take this branded money and I give it away in a video, that video will do well. And then I take the money from that video and I give away in the next video, and that video will do well.
Yeah, Jimmy always spoke about how he would continuously invest any profits that he made from the prior video into the next video, always keeping him at zero for what he's earning, although he had to earn some money to survive. But he would continuously reinvest and make bigger and bigger videos, to now where he has entire game shows with $1 million prizes, which is actually an insane strategy.
Just like freaking out. I was like, I think I just cracked the code.
He even gave his mother $100,000 to repair her house. By 2020, he was one of the biggest creators on the platform. The level of absurdity and creativity was truly top-notch. And it's impossible not to admire and respect that. But somewhere along the way, Jimmy Donaldson stopped being a kid making videos. He became MrBeast. And MrBeast is a fully functioning YouTube factory.
This is true. He is a YouTube factory. I think that it's difficult right now to call MrBeast just a YouTube channel. First of all, there's like 30 or 40 or 50 YouTube channels around MrBeast, maybe more, in multiple languages as well. And he's got probably at this point thousands of people that are working for him. This is not just someone making YouTube videos. This is an entire, essentially, industry.
A document Jimmy created so that everybody on his team would know exactly how to make his videos. But here's the thing, this was only intended for private use. It was never meant to leave the building. But in 2024, it got leaked. So then the entire internet got to read it. And being a creator myself, of course I read it. And it's an interesting read because the first thing that struck me is that this isn't a manifesto about creativity or storytelling. What this memo is all about is how to, by all means, capture attention. The first 10 seconds are everything. If you lose them here, they're gone. And by now, all of us know this, right? The first 10 seconds has to be so captivating that people won't just simply click away.
I put 100 people inside of a giant circle, and whoever leaves the circle last wins 500,000.
Thumbnails should be tested at least 20 times before publishing. No wonder I don't have the results MrBeast does. He describes testing over 50 different thumbnails, testing which face expressions, which colors, which texts, whatever it takes to make people click. Energy can never dip, not even briefly. Every second must justify itself or it gets cut. No pauses, no breathing room. It's this game of constant escalation of the video. Remove all dead air. Silence is failure.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, they're about to fall! Bye-bye! Oh, they're about...
Essentially what he wants is to have the entire video something that people cannot click away from, that you're absolutely addicted with your eyes on the screen, not blinking, not going anywhere.
Mo also has an obsession with what it calls A-players. People who treat every video like it's life or death, who goes to sleep dreaming about retention graphs, click-through rates. Those are the people that MrBeast wants on his team. And if you're not an A-player, you can F off. Management is instructed to identify bottlenecks, stuff that slows the production down, and of course get rid of them. Because in this system, speed is everything. And although a lot of this feels almost perverse to me, it's inspiring. Because this is the way MrBeast has been able to grow his channel to more than 450 million subscribers. It's like 1/20th of the entire world's population. It's insane numbers. And it's probably not a stretch to guess that every 5th young person out there is subscribed to MrBeast. And it's hard to disagree that in this new media landscape, MrBeast is a genius. But not everyone sees it that way.
I'm a former MrBeast employee, and today I am alleging that the company rigged videos and did illegal lotteries and sold fake signatures. I would consider that fraud. Okay, thank you. Enjoy the video.
In 2024, a former employee known as Dogpack404 released a series of videos making serious allegations about MrBeast's operation.
Not only were the results of this video completely scripted, but the contestants are not random subscribers. Oh, that contestant had to get out for her job? I guess you forgot she's your hiring manager.
That what the viewers saw on screen was complete fiction. And the worst part, that the content itself is designed to manipulate young viewers through gambling psychology.
He's just become the first casino where the currency you pay with is attention.
Do you think attention is the most valuable currency in the world?
Well, of course.
Attention isn't the only thing that is valuable. so is your data. By watching certain videos, browsing online, and using public Wi-Fi, you leave your data all around the internet.
It's interesting for me to hear that, first of all, we already know that the attention is the most important thing, but to hear that all of the activities that MrBeast would do, all of the videos, all of the competitions, all of the challenges, to hear that they were rigged, that's kind of crazy. But it's still not leading me to believe that it's something that's bad for children to watch.
He's just become the first casino where the currency you pay with is attention.
Do you think attention is the most valuable currency in the world?
Well, of course. The problem is that if you watch, if you engage, if you stay loyal, you might win the house. You might get the $1 million.
One random person that buys in what time frame? 10 minutes. We're going to put this in someone's order that buys something. And we're going to have 24 people. We're going to put them in 24 different circles. $1 million on the line. Have some fun. You know what I'm saying?
It creates this illusion that being a fan is like holding a lottery ticket.
Last one of you to take your hand off this $1 million stack of cash keeps it.
Very few people have dared to publicly criticize MrBeast because he's a billionaire who holds an enormous amount of power.
Are you going to sue Dogpack?
I mean, what do you do if someone's just causing harm to your business and like getting it to the point where you might have to potentially fire people because it's costing you so much revenue? It's like, it's not fair to the people in my companies, you know what I mean? It's
Just sad.
So the story quickly faded and Dogpack disappeared from YouTube altogether. And I guess that's usually what happens if you go up against a machine this size. What I find interesting is that to most people, Jimmy Donaldson is simply a creator who cracked the code, the YouTube code, better than anybody else. But the code he cracked has nothing to do with telling good stories. It has everything to do with one thing.
Retention. You would think that a lot of these people that work for MrBeast or that did work for MrBeast would be able to then start their own channels utilizing that same recipe and make some amazing content and blow up their channels on their own. And I actually do know one person that I've known for quite a while that did work for MrBeast and that now does have his own YouTube channel and that is extremely successful on that YouTube channel with content that you probably wouldn't assume would be so popular. His channel name is Ken. He puts out videos for video games, Clash Royale specifically, and he's getting hundreds of thousands of views every single day. Does he have the code to being successful on YouTube?
Retention. So why is he so obsessed with it? Why does retention dictate every cut, every thumbnail? And the answer to that question really doesn't have anything to do about MrBeast at all. It has everything to do about the system he was born into.
Welcome to the jungle.
Television in the 1960s and 70s ran on a completely different model. Think of it like a city park, controlled, fenced, with only a handful of entrances and clear paths you could walk. Not everyone could set up a stage. Not everyone could grab a microphone and start performing.
Today we're talking about food and fuel. Dinner will be served as soon as the sun comes up.
If you wanted in, someone had to approve you first. Those gatekeepers were the network executives.
I had big money decisions to make at NBC. Should I cancel this show? Should I move this other show?
You've got to try and link the audience emotionally in some other kind of way. They've got to say, what's happening now? Why are the words that this character's saying, why do they contradict in some way?
They made programming decisions based on a few factors: ratings, taste, values, and their own judgment about what television should be. The old TV system had only a few channels and limited time slots, so a show could survive even if it wasn't the highest rated program.
Yeah, nowadays though, with the introduction of social media, specifically YouTube, we have the ability to make our own shows. Anyone can come onto this platform, create their own show any way that they want to, as little or as much production as they like, and they have the potential to be successful.
If an executive believed it was worth keeping on, it stayed on air. The system had rules, but you also had humans making choices. If television was a city park, well, then YouTube is a wild jungle. No fence, wild, dangerous animals, only the strongest survive. YouTube doesn't have gatekeepers, just an endless jungle where everyone can show up and start screaming into the void.
Yep.
If you've ever felt like your screams were stuck below talking volume, I've helped thousands of students on their screaming journey.
500 hours of video are uploaded every minute. Infinite content fighting for the same pair of eyes. In that jungle is only one law. Did you stay or did you leave? The data is surgical.
YouTube started rewarding the content that had the highest click-through rates and the highest watch time, and like some kind of combination of that.
YouTube knows exactly which thumbnails made you click.
Now, click-through rate, just so some of you that may not understand, when you see a thumbnail and a title, if you click on it, that counts as a click. And your click-through rate goes up, the more clicks that a thumbnail and title will actually get. If you have a good click-through rate, it means that your video looks interesting to people that are interested. That's the first piece of the puzzle. Then it gets into retention that they were talking about. But first, you need to get that click. So you need a good title and an enticing thumbnail.
Which title you ignored, which second you stopped watching, which part you skipped. If you have the budget, you can test 100 different thumbnails for a single video.
And he tested, does MrBeast with an open mouth versus a closed mouth expression work better in his thumbnails? And he found that, in fact, a closed mouth expression worked better.
You can publish a video and watch exactly where the viewers drop off. Then you can go back into the edit, cut that moment out, and test it again.
It's a lot of testing, so we usually edit a video like, 5 or 7 times.
You're not making creative decisions anymore. You're running experiments, trimming and optimizing until what's left is statistically impossible to stop watching. And also a lot is faked or staged.
What? It's an actress, I should say. Oh my God, they're not in the video. And here's the funny thing, not a single comment that I noticed anyway, on a video that has 3.5 million views, I didn't see a single comment saying, where was this person? Because if you deliver someone that's just really interesting, they click it and they get a great video, they're not gonna feel cheated.
This isn't filmmaking, it's manufacturing. And nobody ever has pushed this further than Jimmy Donaldson. Which is exactly what the memo is about. If we can get them to watch the first half of the video, there's a very high chance they'll watch to the end. Usually the 6-minute mark, we will include another re-engagement that is highly interesting. MrBeast didn't create these rules. He just learned to speak the algorithm's language fluently.
He basically just broke down the algorithm from so much time of testing and was intelligent enough to be able to turn that into a rule book that he could follow to see success on the platform.
Virality is not accidental. Sometimes it can be, of course, but
it's just not.
It can be engineered.
And in doing so, he became the most successful creator on the planet, the king of the jungle. But here's the question. If 1 in 10 young people around the world is watching MrBeast, his videos have a huge impact on our next generation. And for children whose brains are still developing, do videos optimized purely for attention actually give them anything? That's the
I'm wondering though, remember when we were kids and people would say that the television is rotting your brain? Then when video games came around, the video games are killing your brain cells. Is this just the next new tech, the next big show, the next big thing that's destroying our children, or is there any weight behind it?
Real question. And I desperately want to know the answer. But to do that, we have to look at what came before MrBeast, before the jungle. We need to go back and figure out who was the king of the city park when television programs were carefully curated and controlled. It turns out that was a man who never tested a thumbnail or checked a retention graph. He didn't care. He cared only about one thing: what his audience was left with after watching him. And 50 years later, people still remember him as the most beloved figure in television history.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor, would you be mine?
We encourage children to make up their own play so that the important time is after the television's turned off. That's when the program has real importance. How well did it prepare them to play?
He's basically trying to teach them during the show to then take with those learnings and implement it into real life, which, if you're giving good morals throughout the show, is a positive thing, or could be.
Fred Rogers wasn't just a television host.
I'll tell you what children need. They need adults who will protect them from the ever-ready molders of their world.
He believed that his mission was to help kids grow up, to understand their emotions, to understand themselves, and be kinder human beings.
You see, I felt that the adults around me were pressuring me to be what I couldn't be yet. Act like a grown-up, I'd hear them say.
From 1968 to 2001, he made 895 episodes of the same slow, gentle show. Back then, there were also other programs chasing ratings and creating spectacle for kids. But Mr. Rogers pursued something else entirely.
I would hope that anybody who sets himself or herself out to produce mass programming for children could have the kind of respect of childhood that I had, because it's not all clowns and balloons.
We had a director that once said to me, you take all of the elements that make good television and do the exact opposite. You have Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
He gave children what they needed, not simply what they would watch. Network executives told him to add more action. They told him kids would never sit still for a man talking calmly into a camera about feelings. But Mr. Rogers didn't care.
And I've worked in the field of child development for 6 years now, trying to understand the inner needs of children.
How many of you watched Mr. Rogers growing up? It was definitely a show that was on my television when I was a little kid. I wouldn't say that I watched it enough for it to shape me into a person, but I can't ever remember thinking anything negative of the show.
It's 1969, and the Nixon administration wants to cut funding for PBS. If that happens, Mr. Rogers' show dies along with everything else on public television. So on May 1st of that year, Fred Rogers sat before the Senate. Senator John Pastore is running the hearing. Pastore has a reputation for being tough and impatient. Everyone knows that he's already made up his mind. This is a waste of time, and the host of a children's television show will not convince him otherwise.
Could I tell you the words of one of the songs which I feel is very important?
Yes.
What do you do with the mad that you feel when you feel so mad you could bite? When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong, and nothing you do seems very right. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish, can stop, anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this, and know that the feeling is really mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
It became one of the most iconic moments in television history. A man who believed in the power of genuine human connection walked into a government hearing and changed minds with a children's song. He wasn't fighting for a show. He was fighting for a philosophy. Fred Rogers understood something the entire industry has since forgotten. Children deserve to be respected.
He was fighting for something that he felt was important and right for children, which is not something that we see a lot of in television nowadays.
33 years, it worked. Not because it was optimized, but because it was honest, it was true, it was real. Mr. Rogers tackled topics no other children's show would go near. The Kennedy assassination.
What does assassination mean?
Deadly shootings.
There are people in the world who are so sick or so angry that they sometimes hurt other people.
9/11.
Thank you for whatever you do, wherever you are, to bring joy and light to your neighbor and to yourself.
And he did all of this because he cared. He cared about the future of these children. He didn't want to distract them and lie to them. And it dawned on me that, in a harsh way, you could say that MrBeast is almost the opposite of everything Mr. Rogers stood for.
I am sitting on $5 million in cash.
Well, I don't know that I would say that he's against everything that Mr. Rogers stood for, but his content is the exact opposite. Instead of going for values and patience, he's going for jump cuts and keeping people's attention on all the time. It doesn't make MrBeast a bad person. It just makes him a different type of creator.
And competing for it. Open again!
MrBeast and Mr. Rogers represent two completely different philosophies. This hits close to heart because I recently became a dad myself. And I know who I would want my daughter to grow up with. Mr. Rogers, right? And I think most people would. And not because MrBeast is evil, but because I don't think it's good for her. It's a distraction. But then again, would Mr. Rogers even survive in today's media landscape?
I don't think you would.
On the right, you have a typical opening of a MrBeast video. On the left, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. From a child's perspective, the contrast is shocking. One grabs you by the throat, the other invites you to sit down. So is it even possible for someone like Fred Rogers to find success in this current system? For one, the first 60 seconds will be flagged as low retention. A man walking and changing his shoes? Boring. The episode where he talks about death or divorce? Too slow, too serious. And the puppets look low budget and amateur. By every measure that dominates children's content today, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood would be a disaster. And that's the biggest tragedy of this story. MrBeast didn't just conquer the jungle, he became its blueprint.
Like, we have it down to a science. Yeah. Now I know what to do, and it's easy to replicate it. Like, figuring it out took forever.
Every creator watched what he built and draw the same conclusion.
And there's many creators now that have watched what he built and are replicating it, trying to be their own version of MrBeast.
Thousands of channels now follow the exact same formula.
There it is.
Optimizing for the same metrics, chasing the same retention curves. The jungle didn't produce one MrBeast. It produced an entire ecosystem built in his image. Because once this model proved it could hold attention better than anything else, it became the standard.
In this video, 200 players, 200 Minecraft players, so far 100 days. On day one, I spawned in.
And it's impacting the world on a very real level. Could you explain, what have you found? You started this, when did you start studying attention and our attention span? Gloria Mark, a professor at UC Irvine, wanted to objectively measure how long people focus on any screen before switching to something else.
I started studying it, it was actually back in 2003. We started tracking attention in people's real world work environments. Now, back in 2003, we would basically follow people with stopwatches.
The average used to be 2.5 minutes. By 2012, that had dropped to 75 seconds. She continued measuring over the years, and today,
20
the median
seconds
is only 40 seconds.
40 seconds.
Others have replicated this as well. So there's a researcher at, I think it's University of Zurich, who found the same measure.
But the scariest part is the feedback loop. Content gets faster to hold shrinking attention spans. Attention spans in turn shrink because they're being trained by faster content. Fred Rogers asking a child to sit still for 60 seconds while he changed his shoes. In 2026, that's not just old-fashioned. It's literally impossible. Not because it's necessarily bad, but because 40 seconds is all you get.
I don't think it's impossible. I think it's something that needs to be trained and that needs to be practiced. And I think that actually would be good practice for children.
I think that children probably watch a lot of television that isn't good for them.
Mr. Rogers built his show on the belief that children deserve respect. That slowness had purpose. But those quiet spaces, those moments where meaning lived, they're invisible to the data. The algorithm can only see whether you stayed or whether you left. It cannot measure whether you grew, whether you learned something about yourself.
I built 2 massive cubes so these 100 kids can compete against these 100 adults. Whichever cube has the most people inside of it after 100 hours splits $500,000.
So is MrBeast destroying the next generation? I really don't think he is the villain of this story. He didn't invent the game. He just learned how to win better than anyone else. The real problem is the game itself. Algorithms don't have values. They just measure what we choose to watch. They amplify what we reward.
And because of this, people will do whatever it takes to gain the algorithm. They'll write whatever titles they need to write. They'll put any images and they'll say anything to keep retention and to gain attention from an audience, because at the end of the day, if you could be successful with that, you could stuff your pockets with cash.
The reason why many tech executives don't let their own children use the products they build, because they understand at a deep level how this system works. So the question isn't really whether MrBeast is good or bad, it's whether the most powerful creator on earth has responsibility for what comes next. After all, the king of the jungle has influence. Mr. Rogers survived for 33 years because millions of people chose to sit with him. And there's nothing stopping us from doing that again. Because, and this is important, attention is the most powerful currency in the world. But it's we, you and I, we decide how and where we spend it.
Some television programs are loud and scary, with people shooting and hitting other people. You know, you can do something about that. When you see scary television, you can turn it off.
And unfortunately, in today's climate, with new programs, Instagram, TikTok, different social medias, different types of shows, it's become increasingly difficult to turn it off. Short form content specifically is an addictive doom scroll that many people and young children find themselves stuck within. So turning it off is the answer, but a lot of times it's very difficult to do. Hope you enjoyed this content, it being a little bit different than normal. If you want to get back on track with what we normally discuss, you can see some of that over here, and I'll see you guys over there.